Hi, it's Ellie from the Radiant Forum. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to do um, a sequence that is designed to bring us strength and flexibility. It will be somewhat challenging, and we're moving toward a revolved triangle. So, we're going to really open up our spine and our chest and our hips, and hopefully, we'll feel really good by the end of this. So, if you like, you can join me with an intention today to be filled with ease and grace, to be able to find that sense of ease and grace in my body and in my mind and in my spirit. So just taking a moment here to get ourselves centered, we're going to sit in hero pose to start to connect with our breath. So if it feels comfortable to sit with the knees together and the heels slightly apart, toes pointing back, sitting right in between the heels, go ahead and do that. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can just take a block right between your feet and sit on that, or sit in any other kneeling or cross-legged position that feels good. Palms up or down on the knees. Beginning to awaken our spine, sitting up a little bit straighter on every in-breath. And on the exhale, letting the skin, the shoulders just soften and drape down. Finding ease and grace in all of our body. Lengthen on the inhale, soften on the exhale. Just a couple more breaths here. Sending some of that good, open, graceful, and easy energy into the hips now. Checking in with them, getting them ready for some movement. And then taking a couple rolls of the shoulders, inhaling the shoulders up and exhaling them back and down. Inhaling up. Exhale, melt the shoulder blades down the back body. Inhaling and exhaling, widening through the collarbones. And filled with ease and grace. One more deep breath, really connecting to every cell in the body. And preparing for this sequence. And then coming into tabletop pose, I'm going to turn to the side of my mat now. We'll just move through a few rounds of cat and cow to start to warm up the spine a little bit further, and also really to draw energy into the core. So we're going to focus on a strong core all the way around. That's not just our abdominal muscles, but it's also all of these low back muscles, the rector spinae column. All of that is our core. So inhaling, drawing the chest forward through the gates of the arms. Exhaling, tucking the pelvis under, drawing up from the belly button and pressing with the upper back up to the sky. Inhaling, releasing through the lower belly, chin and tailbone up. Exhaling, rounding the upper back, pressing firmly into the hands and knees and legs. Inhaling forward, wide collarbones, open heart. Exhaling, tucking the pelvis, moving through the whole spine, rippling it up to the sky. And one more round. Deep inhale, chin and tailbone up. Exhale, everything pressing away from the mat. Coming back into tabletop. We're going to do some bird dogs, and we'll be on our knees just for a few more minutes. So if you need to pad up the knees, please feel free. Take care of your body. And sometimes I like to give my shoulders a little bit more room. My upper back and shoulder muscles can poop out of me a little bit. So I invite you, if you need to take any modification you can come down onto your elbows for these bird dog crunches, or maybe even elevate just a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to put my left leg back first. So tabletop, left leg back, and then drawing that right arm straight in front of me. And keeping my hips level, we'll just lift up that left leg, firmly flexing through the foot like you could stomp on the back wall. Deep inhale here, pulling up through the lower belly and trying to keep a nice straight line through the whole spine, out through the crown of my head. Exhaling, we'll draw it all together, right elbow to left knee. Inhaling, extend, exhaling, draw it in. Inhale, extend, keep that chin slightly tucked, and exhale, draw in, slight rounding through the upper back. Inhaling it all out, and then we'll come into our half bow pose. So reaching back, if you can reach the foot. If you can't, just hang out here. You can even put that back knee down and just get a little chest opener there. But if you can reach the outer edge of the back foot, lift up and away. Couple of breaths here. Widening out, feeling stretch through the armpit, through the chest, maybe through that back hip flexor. One more inhale and exhale, and then we'll release into our bird dog and all the way back into tabletop. So go ahead, maybe take a little child's pose. Just get a breath. We're just at the beginning here. No matter how vigorously we move, we always give our body space to breathe. And to sort of acclimate to the work that we're doing. Coming back up onto the hands and knees now. If you're using a block to elevate, move it to the other side. And extending that right leg back, toes tucked under, making sure that my leg is one long line of energy. I'm going to keep that foot on the ground as I just sort of get myself aligned here. Lifting up that left arm, thumb up to the ceiling, spine really long, making sure my hips are even, and lifting up on the inhale, that back foot firmly flexed, sole of the foot facing the back wall. Deep inhale and exhale, draw that left knee and left elbow, right knee together, inhaling out. Exhale, drawing it all together. Inhale, extend, and exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend, and exhale, coming into our half bow, or maybe, again, just dropping that knee and opening up the chest if the foot is not available for you. But if it is, reach it and then extend, lifting that right hip up to the sky and pulling the ankle away from the glutes so that you really feel a deep stretch through the chest, left armpit. Nice deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale, release back into tabletop. Move the block if you're using it. Maybe take a little bit of a cat and cow here. And then we'll just press back into child's pose. You can have your knees wide apart, as wide as the mat, or together if you want some compression. We're lengthening through the lower back right now, lengthening through the shoulders. Getting that blood moving. Exhale it all out. And on the inhale, rise up into a tabletop, and then we'll just immediately come down into our modified vinyasa, chin and chest touch, and then everything down onto the mat. Drawing the shoulder or the thumbs about to the armpits. We'll just lift partway up into cobra, pressing the toes into the mat, elbows point straight back. Hold it here for a breath as we turn on that whole erector column. Feel those muscles start to warm up, and exhale, release it down to the mat, resting the forehead. Again, Press all 10 toenails into the mat and slightly spin those inner thighs up to the sky, drawing the thumbs back just a little bit more to the middle of the rib cage, lifting up. Deep breath, inhale, and exhale, lower down slowly like a snake. We'll do that one more time. Pressing our toes down, activating, pulling in through the abs, drawing the thumbs back just a little bit more to the lower ribs now. Elbows point straight back, rolling the shoulder heads back, and inhaling up into Cobra, fully extended. If it feels good, you can lift those thighs and knees up off the ground too, or leave them be. Roll the shoulder blades back and down, stretching out through the belly. Nice long Cobra hold here today. And exhaling all the way down. Drawing the hands back behind you, face the palms to the ground. We are going to take a locust pose here. So really roll the shoulder blades back. Even if you want, you can clasp the hands above the sacrum here, and then lifting everything up, spinning the inner thighs up toward the sky, really extending the toes, drawing the shoulders back, widen through the collarbones. Deep inhale and exhale, release everything. Flopping down, forehead to the earth, or rotating your head so your cheek is resting on the earth. Take a big deep inhale here and let everything out, sighing through the mouth. If you can reach your ankles, we'll come into bow pose. So we're going to do that same activation of the whole back body, drawing up through the lower belly to protect our lower back. And on the inhale, we'll reach our feet away from us, drawing ourselves up into this nice bow shape. Really flexing through the feet. Trying not to let the knees splay out from each other. Keep them tight together. Deep breath. One more inhale. And exhaling, letting it all go. Hands back to the lower ribs. Roll the shoulders back. Coming back into our Cobra pose. And making our way into downward dog. Either coming through tabletop first or just going straight into down dog. This is our first time here in this practice, so we'll just pedal the feet out a little bit, get our calves warmed up, and we're going to be doing a little bit of work here, coming back to a down dog as sort of our anchor pose. So if your shoulders are really tight, you might want to try elevating them again up on the blocks. So that's what I'm going to do to give my shoulders a little bit more room to work. So I'm still keeping the blocks about shoulder width, but it just gives me a little bit more space to work with here. So inhaling, and as we exhale, we'll spin those inner thighs back, pressing the heels toward the floor, though of course, you know this, they never ever need to touch. Spinning your arms as though you could spin your elbows forward toward the front of the mat and your armpits back. Inhaling energy up, all the way up the spine, into the sacrum, and then down the backs of the legs. Great. On an inhale, we'll lift our right leg up, keeping our hips nice and level today. And go ahead for this first one. Just rotate that ankle one direction and then the other. Warm up through the whole leg. Feel that line of energy moving all the way down the leg. Deep inhale. And on the exhale, bring that knee directly into the middle of the chest, rolling forward, rippling the spine forward. Hold it for a second and inhaling back up into three-legged dog. Nice exhale. And then we'll inhale forward and bring that leg that knee all the way over to your right elbow. And exhale it back. One more time. This time we'll bring the knee across our body. Inhaling forward, drawing that right knee to the left elbow. And exhaling. And bringing that leg back down to the earth. Feel free to take a child's pose here for a breath. If you need to reset here before you move to the second side. So from our downward dog, shaking that head out, make sure we're not putting too much pressure on the upper traps here. On an inhale, we'll lift our left leg up. Again, keeping those hips nice and even. Really neutral today. Rotating the ankle one direction and the other. Inhale, exhaling forward, chest or knee to the middle of the chest. Inhaling back and exhale. Inhaling forward, left elbow and exhaling it back. And one more time, bringing that left knee across the chest to the right elbow. Three-legged dog, nice big stretch here, and exhaling it back down. Now, you might want to walk your feet in about a foot here so that we're in a really short downward dog. We're just going to do a little twisting dog here. So I'm going to bring my right hand over to my left leg, left ankle, foot, anywhere you can reach, and drawing myself underneath the armpit. Take a couple of breaths here, trying to pull my left hip back so it doesn't get too caught. One more breath. Inhale and exhale, release it back. Feel free to bend the knees, rock it out a little bit, whatever you need to do. Nice deep inhale, and then we'll exhale, other side. Taking the left hand over to the right ankle somewhere. And looking out under our right armpit. Using that inner eye to notice what's going on with the hips. Try to keep them level. Really feeling the sensations. Where's the biggest stretch for you right now? Always connecting with our own body. Coming back into this short downward dog. I am filled with ease and grace. And then we'll lengthen back out into a nice, more typical downward dog. And slowly as you can, coming up onto the toes and just walking our legs in up to a standing forward fold. Really, as we do that, being mindful to activate all the abdominal muscles, all those core muscles drawing us together. And then we can stand here. Your feet can be with toes together, heels slightly apart, or else hip width distance. And we'll just fold in here for a second. Really spinning those inner thighs back so that we're hinging from the hips and activating through the legs to keep all of our joints nice and safe. Deep fold here. Enjoying the sensation. We've had a lot of inversion time already with our head below our heart. So just take that all in, this perspective changing position. On inhale, we'll rise up to halfway lift. And we're hanging out here for just a second. Hands on the floor, fingertips on shins, maybe on your thighs. Even if you can reach the floor, I encourage you to see what it's like to come into this standing forward or halfway lift pose with the hands on the thighs. How does that change what muscles you need to turn on? You might actually need to use your hamstrings a little bit more. This is very challenging for me. So one deep inhale here, Exhaling, we'll draw our hands to the hips. And on the inhale, rising all the way up to stand. Bring those hands up victoriously and exhaling, hands to the heart. Take a second to feel your heart beating and just send all this wonderful blood energy that may be rushing right now all the way down into the heels. Spread the toes out a little bit. Rock forward and back just a little bit. Even yourself out. Gain your equilibrium here. I'm filled with ease and grace. Awesome. So we'll take one standing back bend here, lifting our arms up on the inhale and just raising our heart, using all of this strong core energy just to very gently open up and extend. And then exhale the hands by the sides. Standing mountain pose. Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Scanning the body for any unnecessary tension. Awesome. And then we'll just plant our right foot firmly and step the left leg back with that back foot at a 45-degree angle, heel to heel alignment or a little bit wider. Go ahead, take your hands to your hips and rotate them so we're facing forward and bending into that front knee as much as possible. Tucking the pelvis, we'll lift the arms up into our warrior one pose. We're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. We're kind of having a little slow movement here before we get ready for our next really challenging series. So take this opportunity to just sink in, listen deeply. Where can you make some micro adjustments? Where can we send some softening energy? Our arms are right up next to our ears, but if you find that that's making you hunch up, go ahead and widen them out so they can still be pulled back by the ears, but letting those shoulders and the shoulder blades sink down, releasing excess tension purposefully. Inhaling, lengthening, exhaling, sinking deeper into this, feeling it through that left hip flexor, left quad, right hamstring, tucking this right hip underneath us. One more nice deep breath here. Looking up to the sky, extending, and on the exhale, we'll just circle down into a modified vinyasa or a full vinyasa if you want to do plank and chaturanga. I'm just going to come onto my knees, lowering down my chin and my chest, rolling shoulders back and coming into our nice cobra pose. And back into a downward dog, very briefly. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll take that slow, mindful walk again up to the front of our mat. Really taking the time to feel every toe on the mat. Maybe even imagining that you can feel each of the 3 hamstrings separately as they stretch out. Deep, feel forward fold here. If it feels good to you, you can take your hands to the back of your neck. Just add a little bit of extra weight here. We're not pulling on the neck ever, but a little bit of extra weight for traction. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll roll up one vertebrae at a time, drawing in through the belly, rolling up. The head is the last thing to come up. Arms up. And exhale, slight back bend. Inhale, back up to stand, and exhale into our mountain pose. Hands by the sides. So straight and strong. Breathe in with that certainty. I am filled with ease and grace. Then on the inhale, we'll step the right leg back this time. Again, heel to heel alignment or a little bit wider. Back leg or back foot at a 45-degree angle. Hips really straight toward the front of the mat. Stretching out here. Bending into that front knee. Inhaling the arms up. And as you exhale, sink a little deeper, maybe bending through that knee, maybe not. Take a walk through that whole back leg. Don't miss anything. Strong legs, strong arms too. Remember, if they're hunching up, just widen them out. Release away from the ears. Let the shoulders drop away. Maybe gently squeezing the shoulder blades together. Inhaling, lengthening up, and exhaling, softening into the pose. Really pressing through that front heel, drawing the left hip under, and pulling that left hip back ever so slightly. One more deep inhale and exhaling. We'll take our arms down and come back into that vinyasa, either plank pose to chaturanga or tabletop to chin and chest, coming up into cobra or upward dog, and exhaling back into our downward dog. Just one breath here, one full cycle, inhaling and exhaling and walking those feet back up toward the front of the mat. Feel your calf muscles. Drawing up through the arches of the feet. Walking your big toes together and heels slightly apart. We will come into our chair pose. So dropping the hips and drawing in through the belly, tucking the pelvis, lifting the arms up into our chair pose. Same thing here with the shoulders. Let them drop away from the ears. We want to prevent our knees from going too far over our toes, so pull them back, spin the inner thighs down. Deep breath here. 2 more deep breaths. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine. Exhaling, sinking just a little bit deeper. Inhale up. And on the exhale, draw the hands to heart center here. And then we will twist over into our twisting chair. Very challenging pose for the legs. So as we bring our left elbow to our right knee, be careful to make sure that your left knee isn't popping in front of your right. Draw it back so our knees are really even, hips are even. Just staying here for one more breath. And then really press firmly through the right heel. So whatever side you're twisting to, that side, send a root down into the earth and put all of your weight into that foot, gently lifting up through the left leg and stepping it back into our twisting lunge. Drawing back through the right hip here and pulling forward through the left hip. Deep inhale and exhale, twist a little deeper. Draw in through the lower belly. One more inhale and exhale here. And then we're going to keep our legs, our front leg bent just as it is, and rotate our whole torso open the other way. So you might want to bring a block next to your right foot and spinning that back leg to a 45-degree angle. We're going to open up into our extended side angle. Draw the shoulder blades together. Top arm can be up toward the sky or coming over the head, pointing toward the front of the mat. Either way, feel the burn through the leg. One more deep inhale, and as we exhale, we will just bring that left leg all the way forward, coming forward into our garland or malasana pose. So as we come into this really deep squat position, feel free to put a block under your hips if you need to. We really want our spine to be nice and straight and strong. Pressing into the knees with our elbows. If your toes splay out, that's fine. We just want our hips and knees, or our knees and our toes to go in the same direction here to keep our knee joint really safe. Deep breaths in and out. Inhaling, lengthening up through the spine, and exhaling, releasing down, sending that energy down. Feeling this really huge release in the hips here. Inhale and exhale. One more deep inhale. And on the exhale, we'll stand up into a forward fold with a nice kind of halfway between a regular forward fold and a wide-legged forward fold. Feet are generally about as wide as the mat when we do malasana. So we'll just walk ourselves back into our downward dog. Feel free to come through a little vinyasa if you want to get some movement back. After some long hold, it can be nice to just quickly move our body, get that blood flowing again. And then from downward dog, we'll just take another walk up to the top of the mat. I am really pulling in through the lower belly and killing a mosquito. Sorry. Nice deep inhale up to flat back here. And exhale back down, toes together, heels slightly apart. Bending the knees so they're right over the ankles. Lift up into chair pose. Tucking the pelvis, drawing into the lower belly. I am filled with ease and grace. How often do we need to celebrate that feeling when we're doing really hard work in the world? One more deep breath here, sinking the hips down on the exhale, lengthening on the inhale. Big inhale up, and exhale, drawing the hands through heart center. We'll twist over to that left side now, taking care to draw our right knee back if it tries to pop forward. Moving slowly, making micro adjustments. Pinning the hips together, pinning the knees together. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Inhaling and exhaling. Now, go ahead and send all that energy into the left heel, pressing all your weight. Very carefully lift up through the right heel and transferring the weight to our left leg. We'll come back into our twisting lunge. Drawing the left hip back, pulling the right hip forward. Inhale, lengthen, exhale. Using the strength of my arms to increase the twist just a little bit. Being mindful not to let the shoulders shrug up here. Inhale and exhale. One more breath here, and then on our inhale, we will spin the other direction. Maybe bring a block next to our left foot, opening up through the back foot, and coming into our extended side angle. Whew. That leg wants to straighten out for a second. Awesome. Making sure that our front knee stays right over our front ankle and isn't coming forward of it. I'm spinning this right leg underneath me, opening up. Drawing my shoulder blades gently together. I am filled with ease and grace. One more deep breath. Inhale and exhale. We'll draw that right leg all the way forward, back into our malasana. Garland pose here. Deep squat. Whew. That was a doozy. enjoying that sensation of having completed something, having done something really difficult, no matter how many modifications you take, how many pauses we take. Always celebrate work well done. No work is ever wasted. A deep inhale, and inhaling, we'll stand up, straighten out the legs, and exhale into ragdoll. Probably taking a few bends of the knees, kind of shake out those legs. And if you like, grabbing the arms at the elbows, opposite arm, opposite wrist, opposite elbow, and bending the knees however much you need to. Just let this be really loose and whatever you need it to be. One more deep inhale, and then on the exhale, we'll slowly walk our feet back into a downward dog. Again, spinning the elbows forward and the armpits back, pressing firmly through the thumb and first finger. Pressing through all of our fingertips and our finger pads, but helping take pressure off the wrists by putting extra strength into those first two fingers. Inhaling, exhaling, spinning the inner thighs back and pressing the heels toward the floor. On your next inhale, we'll draw that right leg up to the sky into our three-legged dog. And drawing the knee into the chest, really pulling it in here for a second, holding it. We'll draw it all the way forward between the hands. Spin that back leg at a 45 degrees so we're heel to heel alignment. Coming back up into our warrior one. Just for a breath here so that you can really take note of whether this warrior one feels different than last time we did it. Inhaling and then exhaling, coming into our warrior two, adjusting the feet so we're in heel to arch alignment. Letting the hips sink down. Drawing this right hip underneath us. Right knee right over my right ankle. Pulling up energetically through this back leg. Head over heart, heart over pelvis. Sinking in here. I am filled with ease and grace. And then we'll straighten out through that right knee, that front leg. Pull this hip back, back, back without locking out through the knee joint. So I'm imagining that I could grab the mat with my toes and my heel, pulling up and in as I let my whole body take hold of this feeling of strength. And then inhaling, I'm going to lean my body out, 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 and exhale, tip over into our triangle pose. Go ahead and resting the leg on the shin or the floor or a block, whatever feels good. I really like to use a block here until my arm kind of falls with gravity. I feel like it helps me get a nice big stretch through my chest and arm. Take a couple of breaths. Really pulling that right hip underneath you. Drawing the shoulder blades together. Deep inhale and exhaling. We'll just shorten our stance a little bit. So pull that left foot in a little bit, and we're going to keep our hips facing the front. So as though we're coming into pyramid pose, pull that right hip back, hips both facing the front, and then we'll just twist up the other way. Again, using a block or fingertips to the floor. Eventually, we'll get our fingers on the outside of our front foot into our revolved pyramid. I'm really drawing in through the belly, pulling the torso forward, spine straight and strong. This is a big hamstring and hip and chest stretch here. Twisting through the spine, releasing anything I don't need. I am filled with ease and grace. One more deep breath here. Inhale and exhaling, coming forward, just dropping into our pyramid pose. Folding over this leg here, using blocks if you like. My hips are both facing the front. I'm pulling strongly up through the belly. My spine is straight. And folding over. Letting it all go. Even dropping the head here, shaking it out. Heart forward, and exhale a little deeper for another breath. Inhale and exhaling, bending that front knee. We'll just drop the back knee to the mat, coming into a low lunge. This is really easy here, so maybe even swaying side to side just a little bit. There's a little bit of distance between my right heel and my left knee. I'm keeping my back toes tucked under. It helps me get a little stability here. My right knee is right over my right ankle, not letting it go too far forward. Another deep breath here. Soft and easy in this low lunge. And then for just a little bit more work, we'll put our hands on our knee and draw up, really sitting up out of that into our crescent lunge. Here we go, low lunge, arms up to the sky. Inhaling and exhaling, scrape the sky. Back elbows, or elbows scraping the back wall, opening up through the chest. And then coming into our half splits pose on the exhale. Back hip over our back knee, stretching out through the hamstring. Twice more here. Inhaling up. Exhaling, scraping the elbows on the back wall, opening up the chest. Inhaling forward and exhaling into a half split. Inhaling forward here, lifting up, drawing up through the pelvis, up to the lower belly. Exhaling, opening up the chest. Inhaling and exhaling back into our half split. On this one, you're welcome to stay here in this more active version of it, with toes pointing firmly up to the sky, or you might want to sit back. Getting a little toe stretch on the back leg, or not, toes tucked under. Just find what serves you today. What does your body need? What's it asking of you? What can you ask of it? You are your body is you. Nice deep breathing. Filling up with ease and grace. And then coming back forward, we'll just get a little momentum going, rock on that back foot, and bring it up to stand. Back into our forward fold here. Halfway lift on the inhale, rising up, and exhaling, making our way back into downward dog, coming through a vinyasa, if you like, or just meeting back in downward dog. Wide open chest, open hips. Just a breath here in this downward dog for the cycle. And then we'll lift up our left leg, even hips, and drawing it forward, pulling that knee into the chest and coming up into our warrior one, heel to heel alignment or wider. Lifting up on the inhale and exhaling, sinking in. Just one extra breath here to feel if anything has changed. Bending through that front knee if possible. Feel the strength in this leg. Deep inhale and exhale out into warrior two, heel to arch alignment. Dropping down through the pelvis, tucking it under. Pulling that left hip underneath. Head over heart, heart over pelvis. Nice and straight and strong. Lift up, pull back through those front toes, that front heel. Gather that energy up from the earth, pressing to the knife edge of the back foot. And soften through the shoulders. Let those shoulder blades sink down the back body. Awesome work. We'll inhale, straighten out that front leg, drawing it underneath us, pulling it back. Pull up here, nice, strong, straight spine. Inhaling, exhale, out, 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 leaning over and tilting over into our triangle pose. Let the hand fall wherever it goes. Sometimes it just takes a few seconds to let something sink in or grabbing a block and opening up the torso. So I'm spinning this left inner thigh toward the front wall, or toward the wall I'm facing, and my right inner thigh back, pressing through that knife edge of the back foot, pulling the hip, my front hip underneath me, and squeeze those shoulder blades gently together. Just a couple more deep breaths here. Deep inhale, extend through the spine, extend through the arms, and exhale, rotate that right arm down, and we'll walk that back foot in about a foot. Toes, the foot is still at about a 45-degree angle toward the front of the mat, front corner of the mat. And as though we are coming into our pyramid, which we'll do next, we're going to draw that left hip underneath us, really pull that left hip back and press the right hip forward. And then twisting open again. I'm lifting my belly off my thigh to twist through my spine, opening into our revolved triangle. Super deep twisting pose here. Eventually moving my hand, if possible, to the outside of my left foot. Wherever it lands, though, is just great. It's where your body needs to be. Deep inhales and exhales. Feeling the activation through that whole spinal column. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Squeezing those inner thighs together like you're holding a block between them. Inhale, lengthen. One more. Exhale, deepen. Inhale and exhale, rotating the arms forward, coming into our pyramid pose here. Releasing down. Deep sigh. Oh, these hip and thigh muscles are working so hard. Making sure we're not locking out through the knee joint. Keeping a little bit of strength in the thigh and the quadriceps. Nice flat back and folding deeper on the exhale. Inhales and exhales even and soft. I am filled with ease and grace. And inhaling, we'll bend that front knee and just lower the back knee to the mat. Coming into our low lunge again here. Maybe rock side to side. Shake out the head. Soften whatever needs to be softened. Making sure my knee is right over my ankle, not coming far forward of it. We'll place our hands on our knee and lift up. Squeezing our inner thighs together, pulling that left hip back, right hip forward. Drawing into the belly. Lifting the arms up into our low lunge. And exhaling, opening up, wide through the chest. Inhaling forward and exhale back into our half splits pose. Hip right over the knee. Letting everything go here. Deep exhale, inhaling forward, rising up. pulling that left hip in and exhaling, opening the heart. Inhaling back front and exhale into our half splits pose. Inhaling forward. Open through the chest. Scrape the elbows on the back wall, wide elbows. And exhale into our half split, holding here. So if you like, you can come back. Just releasing, sitting that back heel back, or the glutes on the right heel, toes tucked or untucked. Letting go here, even relaxing through the toes. Coming back here, we'll come into our Malasana one more time. I'm just going to face you for this one. So coming into our nice squat here, toes facing forward or out, just making sure they're going the same direction as the knees. Inhale, lengthen the spine, press those elbows into the knees, and exhale, releasing through the hips and low back. And then we'll take our right arm leaning forward, placing our right hand on the ground, and just open up into a gentle twist here. If you're really super open, you might take that right arm around and left arm and bind them. That puts a little bit of a strain for me today. So I'm just going to open up here and exhaling. Again, placing that block underneath the hips if you wish to have that support. That often helps us get a deeper inner thigh stretch here. And then placing that left hand down, really folding that arm down and opening up into this twist here. Feel it originate from the base of the spine, and the twist gently open up through each vertebrae. And exhaling back to center. And we'll come through a very gentle vinyasa. Or really active if you want. If you want to take a really powerful vinyasa, go for it. I'm going to come from tabletop, my chin and my chest, rolling the shoulders back, keeping my elbows pointing straight back, into my cobra pose, and back into a downward facing dog. Inhale, exhaling, letting those heels release toward the ground. One more three-legged dog, inhaling up, and we'll draw that knee into the chest and bring it all the way forward for pigeon pose. Bringing that right knee up to our right wrist, and then letting the right foot kind of be wherever it feels good. Sometimes trying to get it parallel with the front of the mat puts a lot of pressure on the knee joint. So again, you are your body's best expert, and only you live with your joints. So everybody's anatomy is just a little bit different, and everybody's anatomy acts differently on different days. So here in our pigeon pose, if you feel your right hip rolling off, go ahead and pat it up with a blanket or a blanket or a towel. That does not feel so good for me right now. And then staying up or exhaling, coming down onto the elbows or the forearms. Walking that back foot back. Back toes point straight back. Spine is nice and straight. Deep release here. One more inhale and exhale. And then if you're down, rise up and then roll onto that right hip. We'll bring the left leg forward for fire log pose. So this time we will get our front shin parallel with the front of the mat and bring our left ankle on top of our right knee. And then sitting here, if this does not feel good at all, you can put that front leg or the left foot right in front of the right leg. And you might want to just put a little padding here, maybe even a block underneath the left knee, so it's not just hanging in space, but it actually is supported here. So making sure we're on our sits bones and our glutes aren't in the way. Sit up nice and tall, and if it feels good to fold forward, go ahead. Folding forward on the exhale. Deep breaths in and out. Draw that attention deep into the hips here. Keeping some nice flexion in our feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, moving deeper. On the next inhale, go ahead, rise up. And then we'll bring that left leg all the way back behind us again, so we're in our pigeon pose. And we'll transition into a three-legged dog, drawing that right leg back up behind us and down. Take a couple petals. Just sort of examine how your body's feeling right now. And then on inhale, lift that left leg up. And drawing the knee firmly into the belly, we'll bring that left knee to our left wrist. Coming into our pigeon pose on the second side. Walk that right leg back. Figure out what feels good on your hips today. Padding up the left hip if you need to. Take your time adjusting into any pose. There's no rush. Even if you're in a classroom with lots of people, there's no rush. There's no obligation to make your body look any particular way. Your only obligation is to your own body and your own experience. Deep inhales and exhales. If it feels good to come down onto your elbows or your forearms, go ahead and do so. Letting your body sink incrementally, layer by layer. Softening and opening. I am filled with ease and grace. See if you can notice kind of those really subtle changes in the muscles around your joints when you stay in a pose for several breaths like this. Do you feel kind of that gradual opening up, a sinking sensation, or some kind of a widening sensation maybe? How does it feel for you? One more full cycle of breath. And then on the next inhale, rise up onto the hands again. But take out that padding if you've got it. And we'll circle that right leg back so that it's on top of our left leg. We'll move that left leg so it is parallel with the front of the mat. And placing our right ankle right on top of our left knee. So our right knee then is stacked on top of our left ankle. Or if that feels terrible, go ahead and put that shin right in front of the other shin. Do what you need to do today, even if it's different from the other side. Take care of every joint in your body, every muscle, every tendon. This knee's feeling a little like it could use a rub. So I think I'm just gonna put a little bit of loving attention into this right knee here as I sit, letting my hips open up, keeping my feet flexed. I'm a massage therapist, and often we're kind of afraid of our knees because they're so mysterious, this floating bone here. this joint. But if we can send some love and warmth into all these tendons, this whole cage of tendons and ligaments that holds our knee together, we can actually often bring some relief unexpectedly. So I always encourage gentle exploration of what's going on for you. See if you can follow the lines of the tendons with your fingers and being really soft and loving, but bringing that warmth into your own body. Lengthening up on inhale, exhaling, folding a little bit deeper. One more deep cycle of breath here. Letting everything go. If you feel the urge to sigh out through the mouth during hip openers, then do it. On your next inhale, go ahead and swing that right leg back behind you. So you're in your pigeon pose again. And then we'll come back into that three-legged dog on the second side. Lowering the left leg. One more really good downward dog here. Pressing firmly into all the fingertips, especially the thumb and first finger. Spinning the elbows forward and the armpits back. Widen through the chest. Lengthen through the spine. Spinning the inner thighs back. Stretching out the hamstrings and pressing through the heels. And then we'll come forward onto our knees and roll back. Coming into a little bridge pose here. Slowly lowering down onto the back, being mindful not to collapse through the core, but let it keep working hard to protect us. So drawing the heels right under the knees, hip distance. Take a deep inhale and exhale, and then on your next inhale, press into the heels, lifting up through the glutes, the lower back, the mid back, possibly upper back. Keep tucking that pelvis, drawing it under. Press the hands down into the mat and soften through the neck. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, press a little bit further. Deep inhale, and on the exhale, slowly lower vertebrae by vertebrae back down to the mat. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. Place a hand on the heart, hand on the belly. I'm filled with ease and grace. Let that open-hearted energy fill you up. Drawing the knees back together. We'll do one more bridge pose. So gently tucking the pelvis under. We'll inhale and press through the heels. On the exhale, lifting up the lower back, pressing those knees forward, pressing the sits bones towards the knees, keeping the knees pointing straight ahead. Exhale, lift, 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 lift. One more inhale, and exhale, press into those heels, maybe even lifting the toes. One more deep inhale, and exhale, slowly lower vertebrae by vertebrae. Awesome. Draw the knees into the chest for a minute. Grabbing whatever you can grab behind the thigh. Maybe even see if you can grab the heels and then just make yourself into a nice little round ball for a second. Then we'll take hold of the knees and just roll the lower back, massaging it into the earth, one direction, and then making small circles in the other direction, straightening out the legs. We'll just kind of rock back, roll them back. You can lift your butt up off the ground for a second. Just kind of like a forward fold here, but without having to use any muscles in our legs. We're just softening and lengthening here. So much hard work today. And we'll take a happy baby pose. So grabbing anywhere along the legs that you can access. You can grab the insides or the outsides of the feet. Go ahead and do so. Soften through the shoulders. Take note if you're scrunching up around the ears again. You can be steady here or rock side to side. One more nice deep breath. And then draw the knees in and we'll slowly lower them out, releasing into our Shavasana, lengthening out through the spine, getting ourselves nice and comfortable here. Rolling the shoulder blades underneath you. Let the arms flap open, hands up to the sky. Get the legs nice and comfy. Let the feet flap open. Rolling the head side to side. And then just letting the whole neck and head soften as we prepare here for our Shavasana. Letting all the work we've done today sink into our body, become part of us. Take one more really deep full breath and let it all go, sighing out through the mouth. I am filled with ease and grace. Soften here and let yourself totally relax into this pose. Heavy, open. Begin to take some deeper breaths. Wiggling the fingers and toes. Waking the body back up, bringing some attention back into this moment. Stretching out any way that feels good. And gently rolling off to one side. Take one more nice deep breath here, filling up with ease and grace and a deep knowledge of how awesome you are. And then pressing up to seated. We'll seal our practice today with a little breath. Really connecting to that deep sense of power and ease and grace that comes with moving through the world from a place of stability and flexibility. Bring our hands together at the heart. Today, may you know deeply that you are loved and loving and may be radiant. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.